Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Just talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man! All right! Episode 281 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Nick from Print Profit in Minnesota. Let's go!
Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Dylan. I am the owner of Upstate Merch and the host of the Shirt Show podcast. My guest today was Nick from Print Profit. We've had him on before. I can't remember the episode number, but he was on with John from Logo Daddy. And he was kind of just getting started with this project. Print Profit is a software that basically can help you figure out where your profit is in all of your jobs. And it kind of has this whole dashboard and shows you where you're at for the month and how you can project things. And it's pretty awesome. Every shop that I've talked to that has got it has been pretty happy with, now they know where they're at and they know what jobs are profitable and what jobs aren't. And that's a great way for you to find out what kind of clients you want to take on and which ones you don't, which ones actually work out for you. In this episode, we talk a lot about that. And we also talk about, the thing is, we got into a lot of the reality of it. Like the thing is there's so many people who are like, you have to go through, you have to figure out all your expenses and this is your number. This is your pricing. Okay, well, that's cool to do that. But is anybody actually going to buy shirts from you at that number? Or this is the bottom of the barrel? Like we kind of need to be somewhere in between or maybe in the 75% range. We kind of talk about that. We talk about the reality of all these things. And I try to be as truthful as possible on all of that. So yeah, it's a good one. If you want to figure out what your numbers are, listen to Nick. If you enjoy episodes like this in the Shirt Show, the best way you can support us is by, if you're on YouTube, hitting the like thing. Do it right now, please. It's super helpful. I know you're right here. Take 2 seconds, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe is really cool. That lets us know that you want to hear from us every week. If you are just listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever, you can leave a review. That's nice. Or what I like to see too is on Instagram is just post a story of where you're listening to this, what you're doing, what you're printing. I want to see. I appreciate you. The Shirt Show would not be possible without our amazing partners. Frank. It all starts with a screen. Whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, greatfuckingscreens.com, or ffffrank.com. Frank is the best. He has the best screens out there. If you're messing around and going through some random screen thing, stop. Go to Frank. Get the best screens. It is GSF. It has a sticker on every screen. Do that. He's the fucking man. One of the best dudes I know. So check him out. Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals and equipment make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Right now is a great time to check them out because they have a new monthly giveaway where you have a chance to win $250 in product credit. Head over to easyway.com/giveaway to enter today. EasyWay is the easiest way. GraphX is your source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. They can help any size shop from just starting out to enterprise level. Looking to add a hero to your art department? Check them out at graphxsource.com. SNS is your premier partner in the apparel industry. With one website, one purchase order, 14 distribution centers, and 100 beloved brands, you can streamline your ordering and hit free freight faster than ever. SNS has 1 to 2 day shipping with the lowest error rate in the industry. Be sure to order your blanks from ssactivewear.com. Today's episode is brought to you by American Apparel, makers of the iconic 2001. Soft, fitted, and always in style, this shirt has been the go-to for brands, bands, and print shops for decades. If you want a shirt that people actually want to wear, start with the iconic 2001. For over 90 years, Stahls has been the leading choice among apparel decorators for their heat transfer materials, heat press equipment, and custom transfer services. Not only do they offer some of the best products, but they are always looking to innovate and educate our industry on all things heat press. Head over to stahls.com to order your transfers and check them out on YouTube to be taught a thing or two. If you are looking to buy heat press, if you are looking to buy any kind of transfer, patches, DTF, screen printing transfers, anything that you have to heat press, Stahls is the place to check out. Amazing people, amazing content, super knowledgeable, and some of the best products in the industry. Ryonet has always been that solid go-to resource for screen printers. Not only are their supplies super reliable, but their network of education and support is next level. Whether you're figuring things out or fine tuning your process, they've got your back. Check them out at screenprinting.com. If you are new to the show, or you're new to this industry, or you've been around for forever but don't have any shop friends, it happens. Go to shirtshowofficial.com/discord, or there's a link on the YouTube video, or it's in our Instagram links. Check it out. It's free. You can have it on your desktop. You can have an app on your computer. It is a forum, a resource. It is a chat group. It is everything and every part of our industry all in one place. And it is policed. There are no trolls. It's just a great place to shoot the shit and talk to other printers and embroiderers and digital people. It's all there. Go check it out. I just want to say thank you if you are back, if you've listened to multiple episodes, if you've listened to all the episodes. I appreciate all of you very, very much. It means the world to me that you stick around and shoot the shit with me and you're here with me every week. I'd love to hear from you. I am on Instagram at ShirtShowOfficial. Send a message, give me a suggestion for another print shop you want to hear about, or a topic or anything. I'm down. So I appreciate you all. Enjoy the episode. What's up, dude? How are you?
Hey, good to see you, Dylan.
Happy Sunday.
No other place I'd rather be.
Yeah. I said that all day today. Sundays are Sundays are a shirt show day for me that a lot of people don't realize. Like Tuesdays are generally when I record, like 4:00.
Yeah.
But Sunday tends to be like behind the scenes shirt show work, like all day for me.
Yeah, that's my happy Sunday evening, quiet down, week ahead, hopefully get organized. That's my jam.
Yeah. I have 2 teenagers, so they sleep in. So when I get up in the morning, I have a couple hours before I make breakfast to like work on the newsletter and like get the thumbnails ready for the episode and like all these different things. And I pretty much worked on that until now. And then I'm like, hey, let's do, you know what I'll do? I'll record an episode with Nick.
Yeah. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hopping on. So we did an episode with you before with John. For the people who maybe have missed that episode, can you kind of give us a little rundown of your background, who you are and what Print Profit is before? Because I don't think we need to do like a whole this is Print Profit thing again. I'd like to dive into the topic that you were discussing. So go ahead.
So, the guy behind Print Profit, me, myself, and I, Nick, born and raised in tropical Minnesota here in St. Paul. And you had an episode with Raider Graphics. If anyone hasn't checked it out, rewind to, I think, this summer. And that was all about this local high school, regular public high school, that had a killer print shop. We're talking M&R Autos, DTG, DTF, wide format, die sub. That's where I went to high school.
That's awesome.
And my senior year, I ran like a $250,000 printing business after school for sports teams, the community. So it's in my blood. Didn't come through the family route. And I've just been traveling the world for about 20 years, seeing the industry from all different angles. And that kind of led me to build this software that I saw our industry needed it badly.
Mm-hmm. What can you give us a rundown of what the software does for the most part?
Yeah. So, a little secret, right? Everywhere I've been around the world in our industry, it's over 40 countries. Behind closed doors, every owner that I've met, when that door shuts and it's just one-on-one, I've never had an owner who said like, yeah, Nick, I've got all my profit figured out. I know exactly where I'm making or losing money. I can see it in real time. If we're honest with ourselves, it's a struggle of this industry. So I just said, man, there's got to be a better way to run a more profitable print shop, but let's not make it harder and more complex. Let's make it something that we can all, and I'm stoked for this conversation, Dylan, but like there is a better way to see the business clearly and get to our profit land. And that's the software I built to help us get there. So it's like a category that doesn't exist today. It just grabs our information from Printavo, Deco, YoPrint, Shopworks, whatever, and it brings it into a software that's really helping you see things clear and just get after it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, and myself very much included, is I have all these like bright, shiny ideas of, I'd like to get my numbers figured out. I'd like to redo my pricing chart. I'd like to this and that. Like, obviously it'd be cool to have all those things, and we can all say that, and we all mean super well. But the problem is real life happens. Like,
Yeah.
I literally just finished new pricing chart stuff. Like, went through them this weekend, and I started it with like redoing it with Christina was helping me. This was probably, I don't even know, like a year ago at this point. Like, I don't even remember when we were going through it. And it was one of those things of like, oh, I got to get back in and tweak. And, you know, like most shops do, is I have 3 pricing charts. Like, I don't have just one. I have like the one that I use for general standard customers. I have like a broker pricing chart. And then I have like a contract pricing chart.
Love
And
it.
yeah, that we don't do a lot of contract, but I still need to have it. You know what I mean? I still need to have updated numbers and this, and that, and the other thing. And then there's like, okay, cool. There's all this like, you know, bank accounts and all these other things you want to do. But like the reality is that we walk into work on Monday and we have to run a print shop and we have like random fires to put out and we have all these other issues. So it always gets put on the back burner of like, oh, well, eventually I'll figure out my exact numbers. But for right now, I seem to be making money. I seem to be putting money in my bank account. I seem to be able to pay all these people. But the reality, like you said, is like a lot of us just don't really know. Like, we know enough to be like, okay, cool, the lights are still on. But we don't know enough to be like, this is exactly what I need to be making this week. This is what I should be making next month. This is what I should be preparing for a slow season, which is kind of what you wanted, you know, dive into a little bit, is like getting prepared for those kinds of things. It's just being vulnerable and honest. It's just one of those things that like I have never had a strong suit in. Like maybe 6-7 years ago, I kind of got my act together with being like, okay, I'm better with money, where I'm not just blowing it. Like money would come in and I would blow it. And then I'd be like, cool, I don't have money to buy the things that I need for my shop. Well, I fixed that. And now I'm like, okay, cool, this is happening. But the reality is over the last couple of years, the world kind of flipped on its head and our industry has kind of been like the most up and down and wishy-washy it's ever been.
It's crazy.
And I kind of want to get your take on that. Like, I know you can't give me like other people's details, but like as a generality, like it's like when you talk to Bruce at Printavo, like he knows roughly what the industry is doing because he has the data. He's not going to talk about specifics, but it's kind of like, what do you see happening with all these models that you have as far as shops, like the reality? Because listeners here are seeing their own shop and feeling certain weights on their chest of like, am I doing this right? What is happening? What's going on? But it makes all of us feel better when we know we're not in it alone.
I will confirm that you are not at it alone. Those feelings are real and every shop has it. So like you said, you know, out of respect for who I've had the opportunity to work with, never going to cross the line of disclosing things that shouldn't be. But I will say, man, every shop has their challenges. And these topics of costing, how do we price, making money, it's on everyone's minds. And we know, Dylan, sales is vanity, profit is sanity. And just because it's a big badass shop with, you know, however million in sales, that means nothing about making money. And
I have a really good friend, Josh Grizzly Wheeler, and he is one of those guys who's a fucking wild man. He's one of those guys where like the apocalypse is going to happen. And I'm going to run into him one day and he's going to be like wearing human skulls. And like, he's just that guy. You're like, I'm not fucking with this guy. Anyway, he always said something to me, like every time we have a phone call, it's like about the industry and how it's doing and like all these other things. He said something to me forever ago that just kind of stuck with me, which is just like, money changing hands doesn't necessarily mean it's like money in your pocket, basically. Like, so somebody might be like, oh, I had $1 million job. And it's like, cool. Well, how much did you make off of that job? Just like, did $1 million come in to you, and then you spent $999,000 to like to get the job done, and you made $1,000? That doesn't mean you made $1 million. It's you just kind of shuffled some things around, and then you didn't really make much. So I think there's a lot of shops too that are doing the bottom of the barrel kind of stuff where they're like, oh, cool. Well, I have this 10,000 piece order, but the reality is you're making 40 cents or 10 cents a print or something. And it's like, well, did you really make money, or, you know, all these other things? So I think that's where you kind of come into play here.
Dylan, let's do this together in a very few short minutes. In 3 minutes, I'd love to just with you just lay out everything, how bare bones simple can be to run a more profitable shop, like the mechanics. You ready?
Yeah,
I don't know if you have sleeves on, Dylan, but mine are rolled up.
Never.
So it's as simple as this. When you sell a job, say the job was $100, right? I want to just dispel this myth right here, right now. What does a job cost? We've overthought this. We've got these Frankenstein calculators, or we just straight don't know. But there's only 4 types of categories of what did the job truly cost. Hang with me, right? It's the blank. It's like the materials, right? DTF transfer, however we decorated the apparel. Did you outsource it? Maybe you just didn't do the job at all and shop down the street. That would be a job cost. If you paid a sales rep commission on it, that's legit. That's a job cost. And then if you shipped it to a customer, those are your 4 categories, right? Material, sales commission, outsource, and shipping. And what is left over, that's what you have to cover your overhead. And then you're into profit land. So I hope in that 2 minutes, like super simple, like, whoa, can it be that simple? But it really is. And I want to get your just like point blank reaction to that, Dylan. But like that's my secret sauce. And that's keeping it that simple is the truest way to like see the business clearly. It's like, okay, what did that job cost? Boom. How much profit did we have left over? Boom. How do we get to profit land? Well, we got to cover though. And then that's it. And then
I want to know what this magical profit land is that you keep referring to. Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. And I've had this discussion before where it's kind of like, I feel like I have a little bit of special circumstances where I own the building, I own all my equipment, I have little to no overhead. Really, the only overhead I have is payroll. So like my deciding factors have always been different than say someone who's a shop who's in downtown LA and they have a $15,000 rent payment every month. And then they have all they have all this crazy shit to worry about. Whereas me, I'm like, okay, cool. Someone's like, can we take on this job? I look at it and I literally do what you said is just like, okay, well, what's the blank cost? Like if they want to hit this number and I'm willing to print, like how much of it is blanks, how much of it is shipping, how much of it is ink? Because if I need to order, say 5 gallons of forest green to do this job or whatever, like how much of that is in ink? And then I look at the number afterwards and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, in reality, say this one job that we can print in a day and a half is going to cover everybody's payroll for the week. It's worth it for me. I'm like, cool. Like I'm going to make money. I know I can pay everybody. And then I still have 4 days of the work week that are going to be other jobs that make me money and whatever. So for me, it's always been that simple, like you're saying, of basically like, these are my 3 or 4 metrics of whatever. And then on top of that, I'm charging shipping. So I never really consider shipping because I'm not eating it. I'm just like, okay, well, they're paying that. So for me, it's always been blank cost and ink. And how long is it going to take me to do it?
Easy. Yep. And then the killer thing is, and if you didn't catch the podcast episode with John from Logo Daddy, John and anyone else who uses that software, they already know to the penny how much they're going to make or lose each month. Like they already know how they're going to do in October and what does November look like. Because if you do that math, here's everything we sold. Here's all of the costs that you and I talked about. Here's what's left over. Here's our overhead. If it's above it, profit land. If not, lost money.
Okay, so does the software basically take the jobs from wherever, Printavo or whatever, and does it break it down to where what's the expenses, what's the profit, what's whatever in each one, so that they kind of know? Or am I wrong here? What's the
difference?
It
breaks it down by the job, the customer, the type of customer, sales rep, the product. Was it DTF or DTG or screen or embroidery? It slices and dices all that different way. But I think like to the point of like for our audience, what I shared and what we're talking about, that's like the bare bones structure to start to get your numbers right and your head right. Just thinking about it and tracking it. And it is that simple. Like we've got a lot of free, great calculators out there in the industry. But that's trying to take all the costs and sprinkle it in. And man, you just lose your reality. And then you think you're making a profit and it's like a mirage. And then at the end of the month from your bookkeeper, you think you did good. And then you get the bad news. It's like, oh my gosh, like that's frustrating. And I've been there.
And I think the thing that's also like confusing too is it's like there's a million other variables in there too of like, you know, the person's pricing, is their pricing correct for their company? Like, did they just make it up? Did they go to their competitor and just be like, I'm going to be 50 cents cheaper than them on everything? Or is it something they actually calculated? Like, is that something you guys do before you implement this? Is like, are your actual costs what they should be? Like, are you charging the customer what they should? Or are you just taking their existing stuff and putting it in?
We take their existing stuff, put it in, but the numbers will tell us like for these types of customers, for these,
like you're not profitable, we need to tweak something.
Yeah. And then it's like, man, now we're back on offense versus playing defense. And This is a perfect timing. And Dylan, you know, part of why we want to hop on, it's like, I'm such on a high right now of saying we win or lose 2026 right now in Q4. So growing up in the industry, what's happening in Q4? Bulk of the sales is coming in. We're getting high on our own supply, right? But we know what happens in Q1, dead, quiet. And then we're all scratching our heads. But it's like, man, if we can try to get the shop in order now and think about these numbers and who do we want to work with and why, and then hitting it hard already in November, December, like that's a game changer and it's feasible. You don't need even the Print Profit software to do that. But I just want with a microphone to be the hype man to say, now is the time to think about next year, not mid-February.
So what would you do? Like, what would you say to do? I mean, knowing your numbers and knowing whatever, what's the next step to kind of get ready in Q4?
You know, the big thing is having a profit goal. What do I mean by that? If you look at your QuickBooks at the end of every year, you're going to have net income or net profit. Everything we sold, all the costs, was there anything left over? My biggest goal for everyone would be you're setting a profit goal, like a North Star for 2026. I didn't say a sales goal, but I want everyone to start thinking profit, right? And even just that simple exercise of like, that would force you to do this. Oh, let me go back and see how have I done? Do I know those numbers? Okay. What is my goal for next year? Like that is a starting point. And then how we get there, that's a whole nother part of the conversation. But I've just never met a shop who's been profitable or hit their goal just by like happenstance, right? Like it takes work.
Mm-hmm. So what does a good Q4 like planning process look like then? Like, is it just knowing what you should be going after now and prepping? Because that's something that, you know, I think you said in your email was just like a lot of people wait until it's too late to start doing things. They're not planning now. They're not working into it. They're not hitting their stride. They're waiting until it's dead. And they're like, oh, I guess I'll start looking. But then the reason why you don't have the work is because those kinds of customers aren't ordering right now.
Yeah, you know, keeping it simple and things that we can all take away. So let's peel back the onion a little bit more. I think by saying, okay, we want to have a profit goal. What is that? Like, that's a great first step. But then really, then you start saying like, do I know what my overhead is every month? If you haven't calculated that, spending some time, that shouldn't take more than 15 minutes to figure out, hey, each month, what does it cost to run the business? Starting to calculate what is our profit per job based off of how Dylan and I talked about it. And like, what does that typically look like? Like start getting those reps in and then thinking about, hey, what jobs do we want or not want or customers? It's just an exercise that's like, yes, more work comes from it, but it's just kind of like trying to get the house in order, right? What is our profit goal? Got it. Okay. How are we going to get there? Well, do we even know the overhead costs or how to calculate the profit of a job? And then by going through that, like I said, kind of figure out your little playbook, right? Who do we want and not want? How should we be pricing things? I love, Dylan, how you said you've got 3 little pricing guides, if not more, right? That's
Mhm.
creative. Different customers, contract work versus.
Well, I mean, it's in reality, we all have customers that are just to walk through the door, regular person. We might have a customer who we deal with twice a year or something. Like they're getting standard pricing. If we have a customer who sends us work weekly and whatever, like I'm giving them a better structure because I'm incentivizing them to like want to work with us more often or whatever. And a lot of these people are brokers. They're like they're the middleman. They're the one, out there being like, well, I sell to so and so and whatever, and then I'm just gonna have it printed through you. So we have like an incentive pricing chart, but they're not getting contract pricing. They're not doing, these huge numbers and this and that and the other thing. They're just sending us like really consistent work.
Yep.
And then there's the contract stuff where we get all the time, like these large companies that push their weight around or something that'll be like, this band needs something and we're going to send you the blanks and we need it in 4 days and whatever. And then they're like, okay, well, basically I say contract price sheet, but it's like the fucking bare bones price sheet. It's like, this is the least amount I'm willing to make in order to take this job. And then we'll take that job if it's something where we're like, okay, we have room in the schedule. Like it's not necessarily something where you want to like push people out of the way, but like you're like, I have the room. This will make me some money. Fuck it, let's do it.
And even what you're mentioning, the exercise you did of updating your pricing, that's a killer thing to be doing right now ahead of next year. And the biggest advice I can offer is how Dylan and I talked about what is the profit of a job? What are the costs? Go through those exercises, running the scenarios and see what is left over for profit. And then knowing your market, your customers, how you're positioning your shop, take those two together and find your sweet spot.
Well, that's got to be a cool thing about the software, though, too, is seeing what types of customers that you have are actually making you profit. Because there's so many customers that we do take in where you realize, like, you probably shouldn't have taken that job. Where it's like, oh, they want to do 4 locations and they want to do specialty printing and they want to do this, that, and the other thing. And then they want to haggle you on price. And then it's not your normal day-to-day job. And what you find out is it took you 4 times longer than you thought it was going to take you. And then you're like, well, I don't think we made anything on this job. Like it was too much of a nightmare to do. We ended up misprinting like 10 of them or 6 of them or whatever it is. And then you have to rebuy those, reset it up, redo the whole thing. And it's like, well, did we even make money? So can you look in the software and be like, okay, well, this type of client, this type of work, this is the actual, like, this is where it's profitable or not?
Yeah. And that's the bread and butter of what it's doing, is really giving you that 20/20 vision instead of trying to hack it with your own spreadsheets or notebook math or or whatever. I want to give everyone as much takeaways that I can. So when Dylan and I talked about whatever you sell a job for and those 4 cost categories, whatever's left over, I'll tell you, for what I've seen in North America, the average like profit margin of a job for apparel decorators is between 50 and 55%. So what does that mean? If you sold a job for $100, you subtract out the blank shipping, sales commission, maybe you outsourced it. Typically, the average shop would keep, $50 or $55. So, I just want to bring everything I can to the audience here on this topic. That's just kind of a rough benchmark. If you did contract work where the blank's being provided, like other than ink, like that's like gravy margin. If you outsource all that work and you're paying sales commission, there's not a lot left. So I want everyone to use that 50 to 60% as just a rough little.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you know or not, but like when you put in these things for people's pricing and whatever else, are you noticing a trend with the industry on marking up garments? Like, do you see a certain percentage that people are marking up certain garments before we even get to printing? Because I know some shops don't, some shops do, and some shops that do super overcharge. We're like, oh, I do 100% markup, or I do a 70% markup or something. And it's like, dude, like that hoodie is $40. Like you telling me before you print on it, you're charging $80. Like what is happening?
Every single shop, the big boys to the one person hustling their garage at night to the mid-sized shops. Like I wish I had a clean answer for you, but the honest truth is everyone has their own kind of Frankenstein math. I'll say the more savvy shops who are really on their numbers, they are making sure each year that they are passing along the increases where their customer base will accept it, right? But they're very conscious of however they do their math to mark stuff up, like cost of our blanks and ink and all that go up every year. So they're making sure that they're trying to protect their margins.
The hard part is that I've found is that basically, again, this goes back to me personally, is I'm in upstate New York. I like the cost of living here is pretty low. I own all the things. And again, a buddy of mine could be in downtown LA and we're charging the same amount. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, I have little to no overhead. He has a shitload of overhead. Like, why? It seems like I would be making a lot more money. But like in reality, if I was to look at, okay, this is this, Frankenstein pricing chart creator thing that you're talking about, where you add in all your overhead and this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
Say I do the math, and to my own fault, I guess, is I'm like, okay, well, this is what I should be charging. Is what everyone says you should be doing. You should find out your own numbers. You shouldn't make up a random pricing chart. You should figure out what it is. But what is that number where, say, you're super efficient, you have low overhead, you have all this put together? Where is this, like, this is what I'm worth number? Like, how would someone even come up with that? Because I'm saying I've had it before where I make up my pricing chart and I look at it and I'm like, man, that seems like kind of high. And then I quote something or I send it to another buddy print shop or whatever. And they're like, oh, you're super cheap. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how, like, my numbers made sense and this is what it is, but like, I don't want to be super cheap. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, if I got it to where I should be, I'm low on my end overhead and I could be making a lot more money. I would like to make more money, but I don't know what this magical, this is what I'm worth number is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I feel like everybody's fighting to get to this number of like, this is what I need to make. And like, as long as I make a little bit over, but what if you're the other way around? What if you have all your shit together and then you need to find out a good number where you're like, oh, cool. The industry average on a t-shirt, a Gildan 5000 with a 2-color print on it is, say I'm like, okay, I don't know this number. I'm making it up. Say I'm like, oh, I'm going to charge $6.50. And then 10 of my buddy shops that are about the same size are like, I charge $9.50. And I'm like, cool, there's $3 on the table. That where does that even play? Like, I don't even know how to get there other than to just be like spying on everybody and making fake emails and getting quotes to be like, all right, this is the industry average. Like, I know so many shops that are just like, oh, I base my pricing on custom ink. Like, when I'm unsure of my pricing, I go to their calculator and I put in, 5 different blank types, different print things. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm around that number. I must be good. But I did that a little while ago, just curiosity. And it was super expensive. And I was like, this can't be right. Like, I just feel like so much of that stuff is willy nilly. There has to be like some like middle ground area. You are going into shops and putting in these numbers and seeing what's profitable and what's not. I'm just curious if you have some kind of idea of this is a good way of thinking.
My answer to that would be it's an art and a science, right? So what do I mean by that? If we just do the Frankenstein calculator and we go to the market with that price, typically we're going to get a middle finger back from our customers saying like, yeah, you wish.
Right.
No thanks. So we know if we just go straight numbers, straight ball in Excel, we kind of know how that story ends. On the flip side, we could do the opposite and just chase what the competitors or the custom ink, but then we're very exposed of not knowing like, well, what is our profit? Right. Are we even making a profit? So I've found in this game, pricing is one of the toughest things, but my biggest advice is take the best of both worlds. So let's break that down.
And and again, to be honest, that's kind of what I've always done.
And that's smart.
When me and Christina went through and did the, I can't remember who had it. I think it was like Marshall Atkinson or something, had some downloadable thing to put in all your numbers and it come up with this like thing. Yeah. So anyway, did something like that and then came up with the pricing. And I was like, man, that seems really fucking high. Like that seems like there's no way in hell someone's going to be doing that.
I have so many shops call me saying, Nick, I can't, I'd be embarrassed going to market with this. It's like, yeah, because that's the nature. Like,
right. But that's the thing. That's the reason why it took me a year to finish this pricing chart, because I had that number and then I had my old pricing chart. And I was embarrassed by both, because this one made sense math wise. This one made sense by all the numbers and everything as whatever. The one that I used to have was the one where I had this discussion with somebody not that long ago too, where I was talking about it, where it's like you kind of make your pricing chart and you do the numbers, but then you get a little bit lazy where you just want things to make sense in your head, where you might say, okay, this color, this whatever is going to be $6.37. But it's like, you don't want to have on your pricing chart $6.37. You're like, well, I want to make it $6.50 because it's a nice round number to remember. And then I want every ink color to be 75 cents or so. You just want like quarters and round numbers and stuff to where it's like, oh, every ink color added is 50 cents or something, just so it's easier for you to like do the math. And then you do that for like a year or two. And then you're like, okay, well, I need to bump numbers up. And then you just make up magical numbers where you're like, oh, I'm going to bump everything up 15 cents. And then this moves up. And then 6 years down the line, you have this pricing chart where you're like, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah.
Because shit's just random and all over the place.
And listen, I get why we have pricing matrices and like why our go-to shop systems, softwares, like that's the go-to, right? Because trying to do this on the spot for every job, you'd go crazy. So you need kind of a standard system where you put in the inputs, you get out the price. But the way that you've been thinking, Dylan, try and take the best of both worlds. Like, what's the reality in my market? How I want to position myself. Let me keep it easy. Let me put the true cost of the job against that. And let me just try to massage it accordingly to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
That's my biggest advice. And there's no easy button. I wish there was, but it's a complicated topic. And then to your point, Dylan, like there's so many people who don't know their costs. They're effing up the market. It's stupid prices. How do you compete against it? Like that's a whole nother snag in this, but just taking the best of those two worlds and finding what works for you, the game you're looking to play, who you're looking to serve, you're going to be well off going in that direction.
I'm really glad you said what you said, and it made me, it slightly made me respect you a little bit more, because, and I mean that in a really good way, for so long, there's the hoity-toity, I fucking know-it-all people that always, you just want to shut up. But it's like, I'm glad you said that you need to like be in a little bit of reality of like, you need to meet in the middle. Because for so long I've said, well, yeah, but that doesn't work, as far as like, there's the reality of what everybody around us is charging. And then there's what I'm saying my math is. And then all these other people are like, well, you have to specifically, pushing up their glasses. Like you have to use this number or whatever. And it's like, it doesn't fucking work, dude. Like I can't go to these people and be like, I want to have this markup and this blank markup plus this print price, and go to somebody and they're going to be like, okay, that, independent SS45 is going to be like $38. And then every competitor who's bidding on the same job is like 27. It's like, they're going to laugh me off everything. Yeah. So it's like, cool. Can I be on my high horse and never get a job? Or correct. Can I be somewhere where I'm
making that hill with your Excel spreadsheet and get one job a month?
Right. Or do I make it up in volume and be like, okay, cool. Well, I am profitable. I am making money. I am paying the people that work here, but I'm not making the, I don't have the 100% markup that I wanted in my brain, but I still am chugging along and making it work, because the reality is that everybody is in this race to the bottom thing. And it's like, for example, I just did this with a large client I had the other day that like I'm trying to win over, where I'm talking to this side of the business that doesn't necessarily order all the time, but they're kind of merging together to where they want me to be their new person. And I gave them a price on these independent crew necks. And I went through, and again, like if you go to SNS and you look at the pricing and it's like, okay, cool. Well, here's the standard price and here's the sale price. Well, I always use that little window of whatever in between to be like, well, do I want to win over this customer or do I want to just give them the standard price?
Sure.
So 9 times out of 10, we use the standard price, and then we add our markup, and then we add our print cost, and then we go to the customer with, hey, this is your quote. But if I'm really trying to win somebody over, I'll be like, all right, well, they want 475 crew necks. I'm going to give them the 599 pricing structure that I have. I'm going to give them the sale price on SNS. I'm going to whatever, because then I know cost per crew neck, it's going to be a little bit lower and more competitive, but I'm still making money. I'm not losing anything, but I'm not adding all the little extras on top. Well, I gave this to the customer, and originally, again, they don't really know what they're talking about. They're like, oh, this number is too high. This is, I was thinking more of this number. Well, the person I was talking to was getting that information from their boss, and I was kind of frustrated. I was like, I thought I was going to blow your guys' minds. Like, I thought I was going to be like, oh my God, this price is amazing. And they were like, oh, that's way too high. And then the person I know that I was connected with, I was straight up honest with. I was like, dude, I'll tell you straight up right now. Like, the cost of this crew neck is like $15. I'm coming in at like $22.
Yep.
And I was like, and it's like a 4-color front on a whatever. Like, I'm trying to get you guys as a customer, and I'll kind of like, in reality, I'll make it up later, and I'll adjust my price back to the standard price and like all these other things over time. And they were like, oh, well, we were thinking they would be more like $17 or $18. I was like, cool. Well, you can fucking think that all day long, but that doesn't mean that's what it's going to be. I'm not going to make $2 on these. It's not happening.
I love how you were crushed. You thought you were doing them a
dude.
solid.
I was stoked. I sent it to him. I was like, this is going to blow their fucking tits off. Like, this is going to be amazing. And then they were like, oh, well, it's kind of high. And I was like, you're so full of it. There's no fucking way that this is what it is. And, yeah, I know. It was just a dose of reality. What was funny about this story, the reason why I'm telling this, is they ended up having a marketing meeting with that group of people and the people who normally do all the ordering. And this is a large company. They order shit all the time, whatever. Well, when they got in this like board meeting and pulled my shit up on like the screen or whatever to tell the rest of the company, the people who normally order are like, oh my God, that's a really good price. And I was like, I fucking told you. Like, I told you this was a good price. And then the funny thing is, it's always that Christina says this all the time, too, with certain people, where it's like, it's never a good idea when you say it to somebody. It's only a good idea to them when they hear it from a group of people. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is the best deal ever. That's exactly what happened. They ended up ordering like a bunch more stuff after that meeting because they were like, oh, this actually is like a really good price. And it's like, what I'm trying to say is it's all make-believe. It's all made up. It's like, who's your customer? What are they willing to pay?
Yep.
And you just need to make sure you're not losing your ass, really. Like,
and it was Cassie from Apparelist. We did a podcast episode. She said, Nick, what's your biggest pricing advice to shops? I said, know your cost. Because for me, that's like your North Star. If you know your costs, those 4 categories, then whatever messed up scenario you might want to apply to it of what the market selling price, at least you have an anchor to know at the end of the day,
right,
what's left over for me. And pimping it out with software, we can say, oh, your shop, for your customers who are in nonprofits or churches or sports teams or schools, here's what they're typically willing to pay. And that price you're going in, are you leaving money on the table? Or are you going in higher? Mm-hmm. And then also, Dylan, like, let's pimp out the pricing topic. When you know in real time if your business is going to make or lose money in the month, that's a whole nother dimension.
That was something that John talked about when you guys were on together. That really, I think that was like the one thing. Well, I'm not trying to say it was the only thing, but it was something that stood out to me in that episode when I go through it with them. Is he was like, by having these numbers and having this software, we're having a decent month, and I know I need to make this much profit for this month in total. And then say it's the 16th of that month and we've already hit our nut of what I need to live on. Yep. Then I can start looking at jobs that are coming in and being like, well, this is kind of a lowball number that they're willing to give me, but I can take it because I've already made my nut. Like, I've already made, I'm already in trademark profit land.
Yeah.
So anything here is gravy. Like, I'm willing to take this job for a little bit less. I have time on the schedule. It's not going to hurt me. But the problem is, you don't want to take jobs that necessarily are lower or that you're getting lowballed on when you haven't hit that number yet. Because then what happens if you get to the end of the month and you haven't made that number? Then you're in the negative and you're screwed. So I always thought that was cool to just be like, all right, well, I'm good now. I can just take, not that you want to just after the 16th, just take a bunch of shit jobs.
Correct.
But you can here and there just to get, like, you're still going to make money. Just instead of being like, oh, I'm making $4 every shirt, you're making $2.95.
Yep.
If you have the free time and you have whatever, you're still making $2.95 a shirt. Whereas if you didn't take that job, you'd be making $0. So,
and the way Logo Daddy and others, they're running a whole nother ball game of the way they're thinking it. And why I created Print Profit, this isn't like a have and have not. And I want to be clear about that. My whole vision behind Print Profit is to elevate all shops, whether you're hustling in a basement with Riley Hopkins, or you've got an auto, or you're a gangster and you have 10 autos. But it's like, we're all running our own races. We're all taking our own risks. We all have our own dreams. And I want to move this industry forward. And the same way, like a lot of us look up to John and Logo Daddy and their thought leadership. Like, you can be running your print shop that way too, no matter how small you might be. So I just want to clarify that as well, Dylan. Like, that's the whole reason I'm doing this, is to raise us all up.
Yeah. What do you do? Like, I know I'm not going to speak for John, but I do know that he has a couple large clients that are consistent. Whereas he might have their schedule for Q4. He might know what's coming for the next couple quarters or whatever. What if you're a shop kind of like me, where you don't have consistent shit? Like, you have clients that you're like, okay, they've been with us a couple years. They tend to order 4 times a year, or, once every month or whatever. Like, how do you project things when it's just random? It's like, okay, cool. I don't know. Like, today's Sunday, tomorrow's Monday. I'm going to walk in. I might get 10 emails tonight that are just like random people or referrals of somebody else, or like, hey, I want to order 100 shirts. I want to order 200 of this. Like,
yeah.
How are you projecting things when shit is just super random?
So when logging into Print Profit, you get the heartbeat, which is saying, hey, for all the jobs that have due dates, they're going out this month or next month, this is how it's going to play out. And then because it grabs the data automatically, if a job gets canceled, it gets moved to another month. Like, all of that is in real time. But to your point, Dylan, we can see for each shop, like, hey, for you to break even, you need to sell this much or this many jobs. Right. So one leading indicator can also be the quotes. It's like, if we don't have this many quotes and we think we might close this, the odds of hitting, being successful are probably challenged.
So it kind of just gives you that, it's that like lighting the fire under you a little bit of being like, well, this is the number we need. This is where we're at. So even if it is random, it's like, all right, cool. Well, I don't care who the job is or what it's for.
Where it comes from, whatever.
We need to get X amount more in order to hit this nut. Or if we have this projected profit goal that is in profit land. I'm just going to keep saying profit land, even though.
Let's run with it. And John's had a lot of money quotes. One I loved about him, like, John, isn't it awesome to see your business with 20/20 vision? Here I am, the hype man. He's like, man, sometimes it hurts seeing it clearly. Like, sometimes we rather not know, but whether good, bad, or ugly, like, it is the cold-hearted facts. But that's the cool thing, is there's shit we can do about it if we don't like what the numbers are telling us. So my whole thing is like, I want the software to be a 1-2 punch. For better, for worse, seeing it clearly and having a playbook of how to get where you want to go. If you ask me, if you don't have both, it's just another dashboard, and so what, right?
Yeah. What are some things that you're seeing that are like common, that where shops are necessarily overspending, where maybe they can take a look at something and be like, hey, I am kind of losing my ass on this? Is it just efficiencies in general? Is it people not taking the time to shop around for certain, utilities or anything like that? Or is it just they have too many people? I feel like it's too many people. I feel like a lot of shops are like, well, I need someone to mix inks. I need someone to move carts. I need someone to do high fives over here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of people, I'm going to say it's almost every time I talk to somebody who lets people go or tries to lean out, The
Yeah.
answer is always, we're doing more jobs now with less people.
Yeah. The big one is labor. And until you go down this path of like calculating your overhead and, oh yeah, this labor thing, right? And how much of that is overtime? Like when you really start to peel that back, that can be super revealing. And the software for us will say like, oh, you're 5% net profit today. If you want to get to 10, here's the dials you can adjust to get there. But if we're not looking at labor monthly and being really honest with ourselves and questioning, are these things justified? Man, that's like the other than the blanks, right? Like blanks and labor, those are the two big ones. I just worked with a shop in Chicago. I saw really high marketing advertising spend for the smaller shop. And I'm like, what exactly are you doing? And is that giving you the return? And that kind of opened up a can of worms like, well, we can't measure if we're successful with that or not. And I'm like, well, I don't know if we should be spending $2,000 a month then on marketing, labor, marketing. Yeah.
I feel like another big one for certain people is probably location. You know what I mean? Like, again, I never planned this. I just got a shop where I got one. It was in the middle of nowhere. This is where I live. But I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I want to have that storefront. I want to be downtown. I want to have this, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, how many of your good customers are people that come in off the street? Or how many of your good customers are ones that just know you and will work with you no matter where you are? Like, do you need to be in the storefront in downtown? Or could you have some like warehouse that's off the beaten path in an industrial park and you're paying half the rental income, but you're not losing anybody? You know what I mean? Like, is it worth spending 2x what you could spend in rent just to have it to where a couple random people come in off the street, or it looks cool, or it's in this like hip downtown area, or just get into a shed, like, you know, on a dirt road and make way more money?
That's a big one where we can say, hey, what if we buy that auto? What if we get that fancy storefront? But what kills me, Dylan, is when I meet shops who have already pulled the trigger off of a gut feeling. And we're like, we've got a good gut feeling, right? But if we don't put numbers against it, it's like, oof, man, that's like the biggest decisions we're making in our businesses and kind of winging it based off of intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like such a ripe opportunity to help close that education gap.
Yeah.
For shops. It's like,
it's funny. I won't mention who they are, but there's a shop that moved out west that is kind of talking to me for advice and whatever. And you know what's funny is some people reach out to me for stuff like this and they're like, oh, like, tell me what you want to charge to like talk me through this. I was like, dude, I am in no way, shape, or form going to tell you I'm an expert on anything. I'm not going to be your consultant and charge you money. I will gladly answer texts, emails, calls. I will help you through this process as much as I can. But what I don't want to do is be like, listen to me, it's the word of the Lord, and then get you in a situation where it ruins your life. Like, not a chance in hell. Like, I will give you, I will fucking give you all the advice I can, because you know what? I've been kicked in the nuts so much. And there's so many other owners I know that have just like done a million things wrong to kind of know this is the right path to take. Yeah. And I think that's more somebody's advice I would like to hear from, not just the person who's like, nope, I have the answer for everything. I know this is what you should do, whatever. Anyway, their initial gut reaction was, I want to start up a shop. We're going to find this downtown thing. I'm going to go right in. I'm going to buy an auto and this and that and the other thing and whatever. And I was like, do you need that? Like, what's the goal? Is the goal to like hit the ground running and you have a bunch of customers, or you're starting over? Like, what are you doing? And this story that I'm about to say is not necessarily everything they said, but to me, it makes sense of like, okay, well, in your head, you have this fantasy of, I want to have this downtown shop. I want to hit the ground running with an auto. I'm going to have this. I'm going to go ahead and hire 4 people. I'm going to do this and that. And it's like, okay, that's cool in your head, but like, what happens when January hits Like, can you pay that rent? Can you pay that auto payment? Can you pay these 4 people? Can you do this or that? Or is the goal to make money and start your family and like just kind of do what you can do? And the funny thing is like, talk to them about this and that. And they were like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Like, this rules, whatever. And it's like, cool. Well, they bought a house with a bigger garage, and they just recently were like, okay, we do want to get an auto, but we want to get something that is efficient and that'll work. And they're like, oh, we're going to get the Anatol Volt, so we don't have an air compressor, and I have that 7th head that comes down where I can prep by myself. And it's like, okay, well, what dryer should I get? And I'm like, well, you should try to get the smallest gas dryer possible, because you get a little electric dryer, your bill's going to be expensive for your electric, and then you're probably going to outpace it with the auto. Like, try to get a small gas dryer. So it's like setting up this shop that makes a lot of sense, and you have no extra employees, you have no rent because you're in your own home garage and like everything else. It's like, do that first. Like, get to where, like, I look at things of like, okay, worst case scenario happens, are you fucked? And it's like, worst case scenario in this thing is that you're in your own home. You don't have to pay to go to the shop. You don't have to pay employees. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. The worst case scenario is you find more work and you don't have that many bills. You don't have that much overhead. And it's like, go from there and then be like, okay, well, business is booming. We're busting at the seams. Every day I have to roll open the garage door and push a bunch of boxes out to have room to work. It's like, then get your downtown spot or your
Better than shit in your pants downtown window front when it's January.
Also, just for your own pride, dude. It's like, what happens if you go do that whole thing and like you didn't expect all these payments and this and that and the other thing, and then the whole world or the whole downtown sees you close 3 months in, 6 months in. It's like, wouldn't you rather do that from home and then slowly close your doors? Or you are like, cool, I'm super profitable in profit land because I talked to Nick and I got set up right off the bat and I know my numbers and I grew and
I love crawl, walk, run, and like, yes, like make bold moves when it's calculated, well thought out. I'm all for that too, but I like your advice you gave them, I think steering them in the right direction. And you know this, Dylan, like I've seen so many shops this year who in 25 will do less sales, but they're making so much more profit. And that is cool. Like, we know the race of more. That's not the answer always. For some, it might be we're running your own race, but I think that's empowering, hopefully, for a lot of people here as well.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like little things that can help you. And again, I'll be a little bit vulnerable. Is like tools like what you have are helpful to know your numbers and know what your profit is, especially if you're kind of just slugging along. Like if it's cool when you're busy and bustling and everything's great and you're like, cool, I'm making money hand over fist. And like, I can see now with the software, like, yeah, this is my fucking Scrooge McDuck, like pile of coins over here that I can dive into.
Yeah.
But what happens if you're kind of like, shit, I'm like robbing Peter to pay Paul and I'm like trying to figure this out. And I'm just for the last year trying to like keep the lights on and this, and that, and the other thing. And it's like, what do you do then? Can you take this thing and be like, okay, I need to stop trying to take these jobs because they're not profitable. I need to go after more of these jobs that are profitable. And then I can get myself out of this hole and whatever. So our thing here for my company is everything's fine. Everything's good. It's just, I'm like every other shop and I'll be honest about it and just be like, this week might be busy as hell. And then 2 weeks from now, it'll be dead for a week and a half. And then it's like, okay, well, this is whatever. And it's like, I just don't know what's going to happen. And that's the thing is like not knowing what's going to happen makes me uneasy as a business owner because I just don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like I can be like, do I want to hire a person for the darkroom? You know, I could probably use a person. And then you hire that person in a busy week because you're like, cool, this makes sense. Like, let's do it. And then you have 3 weeks in a row of it being kind of shitty and dead. And you're like, I had to send that new hire home like early 2 days this week. And it's like, that sucks. Yeah. Especially when that person just left another job that they had 40 hours at to work here because they wanted to work here. And then 2 weeks in, we're like, hey, yeah, we cranked out and got everything done in 3 days. Now we have 2 days of like, you're going to be standing around. We'll just have you go home. Like
this game always keeps us on our toes. And man, there's seasons of it's going really good and bad and in between. And every year is a different scenario. So
Yeah.
I appreciate just saying it like it is, because that's the reality. And
Well,
anyone saying otherwise,
it's just super annoying and frustrating too. And again, I get it. Like, I have this platform and I should be saying what I'm saying, but I talk to certain shops or whatever, and you see them on Instagram and that and the other thing, and you're like, oh, they have to be doing amazing. Like, they're super busy or whatever. But then you actually sit down and talk to them and they're like, yeah, dude, I don't know how I'm going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent this month or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand.
This isn't meant to be a doom and gloom, right? Because we're here to say there's solutions. Let's start thinking proactively. That's the theme of this episode. But like, the average net profit margin in the United States for a printing company is like 1% to 2%, which is insane. Like, the amount of risk we take, how hard we work. And that fires me up every day to say, like, I don't know. It bugs me. There's better ways here.
How often should a shop evaluate pricing and deal with inflation and deal with the rising costs of this and that? Is it because I feel like what a lot of people do is they don't change anything or do anything year by year. They just wait until they get this notice from like Woolflex or something where like, hey, ink's going up 15%. And then they're like, oh shit, I should probably adjust my pricing. Yeah. Like, do you think it's a year after year thing of inflation? Do you think it's okay, the market is doing this? Or
in today's day and age, and just how costs are going up and margins are thinner and competition, blah, blah, blah. We're living in the same world, we know. I'd say bare bones, you got to be doing it twice a year. I think a good cadence is like quarterly, and it doesn't have to be so intense, but just like, hey, this is the structure. These were the assumptions. Has this been working or not? Do we have the numbers or software to say, like, is this working well? Do we need to fine tune the dials? But yeah, if you're not doing that a few times a year, bare minimum, I think you're really missing out. And if it's working for you without doing that, even then it's like nothing here is certain year over year. So I think that should be part of, opening up Pandora's box and just looking and thinking and trying to tweak. The more the merrier.
So we were kind of talking about in the beginning how there's these 3 or 4 like super bare bone metrics of like blank cost and, commissions and whatever else. Yeah. And then we kind of came back full circle with, this is the reason why we think of this is because there is this is what the market's low is, and this is what I think my number should be with all the math, but really we should meet in the middle, which then made sense to where, okay, these are my key 4 metrics of what I should be doing. What are some other things? So say someone comes to you, Nick, and they're like, hey, I want to do print profit. Like, what are the metrics that are in your system that they should put in to know this is how to get to profit land? Like, do you have like, okay, put in your expenses, put in your this, put in your that, like put in, like, what are the key ones that are in there? Not just this mental checklist of these 3 things.
So the key things, and we'll keep it simple, right? Not crazy complex, because that's the way we've all been doing our best. And that's kind of the path we've followed. Remember, Dylan, when we talked about when we sell a job and those 4 cost categories, what was left over? That is called contribution margin. And you can put whatever fancy term on it, but I've had so many owners say, I don't give a shit about sales anymore. All I care about is contribution. I wake up in the morning, I go to bed. My brain is obsessed with that. Because remember when we talked about the simple mechanics, if your overhead every month is $10,000, right? That keeps you up at night. You're not going to see a penny of profit until you cover your overhead. Well, how you cover your overhead is every job you produce, sales minus those costs we talked about, what's left over, contribution, that's like your fuel to climb that mountain to get to profit land. So that's why owners are saying, screw traditional sales. I'm in it for the contribution. What's left after those costs? What do I have? So it is all built off of that
But
contribution.
that's what's funny too, is it goes back to us saying these, people who brag about whatever, they're like, oh, I got this 20,000 piece order or whatever. I've always kind of looked at it as like, that's cool. Like, that's a lot of shirts. That's whatever. The shop's going to hate it because the press ops are going to hate that they have to do a 20,000 piece order. But also it's like all my printers and a lot of printers I know would rather do 100 to 500 piece orders all day long because they get to change things over. It's a change of scenery. It's a change of whatever. But the reality too is that these 50 piece, 100 piece, 200 piece jobs tend to be the most profitable.
Yeah.
Like we're like, cool, we're making like $8 a shirt or some shit on like 100 shirts. Whereas if we're doing 20,000, again, you're down to like, all right, well, we're making, 65 cents a shirt or something.
Yep.
Are you finding that when people put all these numbers in, that's kind of where they can find out like, okay, is it worth me taking this hot market job, or is it worth me taking on this, so-and-so came through and says they want us to do 50,000 shirts.
Yep.
Do you pass or do you take it?
Yep. It's bringing to life, like there's hidden opportunities. There's areas where you say, there's no way. We thought this was the poster customer and you're telling me this is what's left over. It's all of that. It's like a reality TV show, but it's automatically putting that in front of you. Say, okay, so what do we want to do with this? So let me just answer it really clearly for the audience. We've got like sales, but really we're obsessed with the contribution. What's left over when we take out those costs? We've got our overhead costs. You need to know that every month. And then by simply tracking the contribution and the fixed costs, you're really answering, am I making or losing money each month? That's the most simple way I can say business 101, print shop 101. And I would applaud you, whether you want to go with Print Profit on your own, AI, whatever industry consultant, but hey, Q4, this is the time to start brushing off the dust. And if you're not doing these things, which to Dylan's point in our open conversation, the bulk of us aren't, now's the time. Start going down that journey and you're going to be way better off because of it.
Yeah. Is there, I mean, this is your company and your thing, but like, is there an easy way for people to kind of get their feet wet with this scenario instead of just being like, okay, I need to take this plunge? Because I think like the reality is that it's hard for people to swallow that pill of like, I need help. I need a software. I need whatever. Like, that's the thing is a lot of people, it could be 2 a.m. They're on their laptop in bed, they're whatever. And they're like, you know what? I saw Nick on the Shirt Show and he's talking about this Print Profit thing. Again, like a lot of people will be like, that's a nice idea. And then they just never fucking do it because it's hard to do. Like it sounds like homework. It sounds like, cool, I got to go through all my expenses. I got to whatever. Like, what is the actual buy-in for it? What is the actual, okay, this is the homework? Is it something where it's pretty simple to set up, or is it like, okay, this is a month-long process?
We make it simple, lights out. We automatically grab your information from QuickBooks, from whatever software you use to run your shop. We do all the heavy lifting. That's automated. And what we're building at Print Profit, it's like Google Maps for your print shop business. How profitable do you want to be? Where are you today? And what's my turn by turn? Mm-hmm. And that's the only way, Dylan, Print Profit's ever going to be successful long-term and scale is by taking all that complexity, all that headache, the stuff we hate, never want to do, and making it easy for the first time ever in the industry. And that's what we're doing. Are we perfect? No. Can the software be better? Yes, that's every software. But that's the whole value proposition, saying, hey, you want to try to sleep better at night, make more money, provide opportunity for your employees, et cetera, et cetera. Like the numbers is a huge part of it. So for the first time, let's make that something we can actually understand and do something with. So it's kind of like a rally cry saying, what we've been doing hasn't worked. It's painful. There's a better way.
Can you give me any kind of breakdown, just rough, from your experience of doing this, of like what, I'll put this in my own story, I guess, is I've never had embroidery in-house. I've always had it because I have a lady literally across the street from me who only does embroidery. I send it all over there. Well, when the original lady that was there left, she was trying to sell it to me. And then I got talking to friends, whatever. They're like, oh, buy embroidery. It's like super profitable. And like, I wish I would have done it sooner. And it's 50% of my business and this and that and the other thing. And then on top of that, there's also like now there's like DTF and stuff. And it's like, okay, cool. Like how profitable is DTF? How profitable is embroidery? How profitable is screen printing? Do you find that some of these are like, say someone just does screen printing or they just do embroidery or they just do DTF or whatever? Do you have any evidence in the shops that you've worked with of like, yeah, maybe you should like look into embroidery. Maybe you should look into DTF, because I'm finding that with this calculator or with these numbers that shops are way more profitable by having these things.
So that's conversations that happen every single week. Just in Austin, I had a conversation saying, what is the impact if we bring embroidery in house? And that made it very clear to him that it's in his favor to do so. Also looking at someone who just this week wants to go into an auto from a manual for a first time. So it's like whatever scenario you can think of, equipment, people, software spend, is it a smart business numbers move? That's what we're calculating and supporting shops.
I'm just saying that like you have a little bit of a special view. You know what I mean? Like you're giving me an answer of like, yeah, like these make sense because of whatever. Like I want the fucking Nick answer of like, I'm seeing as overlord that if you get embroidery, it's worth it. Like it's worth investing into, or it's okay. Like it's hit or miss. Like depending if you're good at it, whatever.
Yeah.
You could see these numbers of being like, oh, the shops that I'm working with that have embroidery are fucking like, they think they're making money on screen printing, but wait till you get embroidery, you're going to be making money. Like, give me the Nick Overlord answer to this.
Overlord is embroidery is juicy AF.
That's the answer I was looking for.
I've never said that about embroidery in my life, but as long as you're pricing that right and you've got enough that you're doing consistently, why would you be giving someone else that? So that made it in Austin, Texas, a no-brainer. I said, bring that mofo in house.
Right. See,
Going from manual to
that's the
auto.
answer I'm looking for, Nick. Come on, give me. All right, manual to auto. Next, give me the difference.
So manual
you have these things that the rest of us don't get. You get to see. Again, you don't want to think of like, okay, Jeff Bezos knows, he knows what works for the American people, and then it's like, okay, again, I'm going to say Bruce, like he has this like overlord thing of like. Not that you want to think that he has this information, but it's like, oh, they again, Bruce isn't in it anymore, but I'm just saying like they have these numbers of like, okay, well, this shirt's more popular than this shirt, or this one's making more money, this or that and the other thing. They have these metrics. Like I'm not asking for names, I'm not asking for numbers. I'm just asking you to tell us simple whatever of like, okay, this is worth getting into.
Yep. Manual to auto, as long as you've got sales that are at a certain level, make that jump, right? But you better be talking to me about the numbers ahead of time. And I want to say one thing clear about the vision of Print Profit. We're gearing up heavily for Long Beach, which Blink and I were going to be there. I want to release, I think I'd be the only person in the industry who's building up all of this data to answer these questions, Dylan. I want Print Profit to be, for the industry, have an annual Print Profit report saying, hey, this is the state of the industry. And these are the anonymized numbers. That is part of my vision of lifting everyone
Definitely
up.
Need to do that. Like, that's not even a question. Yeah. But that's the problem. That's what I'm trying to say in here of like the reality. You know what I mean? Like there's the hoity-toity people that are just like, this is the way you have to do it. This is the whatever. And then there's the people down here that don't ever talk about anything, that have the reality or whatever. And then there's everybody in between. And it's like, I'm so sick of this fucking everybody's behind some curtain, not telling the full story. It's like, why are we all getting kicked in the nuts nonstop? Like, just fucking knock it off. Like, talk to each other. Like, there's no reason why you can't give a report that says, hey guys, if you are in this scenario, if you are just a screen printing shop and you're thinking about whatever, this is the reality. Like if you're going to dive in, you're going to be all about it. You're not going to half-ass it. You could get to this level in your shop if you brought on this piece of equipment or this whatever. You know, if you do promo, like that's the thing with promo is there's all these promo people I've talked to that are really good at it. There's, you know, ASI or whatever that I talk to and this and that. And they all say their sales pitch. They say, you're leaving money on the table because that same customer wants to buy shot glasses or some bullshit. And you think of it, and you're like, that's cool. Like, I know you're just trying to sell me whatever, but there's also a reality to that. There's shops that kill it in promo that are like, yeah, dude, you're leaving all this money on the table. But I want to know the reality. I want to know this is the real thing. Like, I don't want to hear it from somebody who's just saying that and then goes home to a dumpster fire because that's not the reality. Like, tell me the real shit.
I've seen a lot of shops who never did promo before. That seemed to be a big hype. A lot of people, you know, you should get into it. And remember how all we care about is contribution, not sales.
Yeah.
A lot of shop owners are saying, hey, yes, there's some admin, right? There's a middleman because you're not producing the promo, you're outsourcing it. But I've seen shops recently who are killing it, bringing in a lot of contribution dollars every month for minimal admin work that they didn't have before. So that's been cool to say, like, man, that is icing on the cake that you're adding to everything else that you've had. And I applaud. It's like, yeah, I don't give a shit about.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, the average print shop doesn't know. They're in their own bubble. Like, even me, I have special circumstances because I talk to people like you and I talk to all this other industry shit where I'm getting a little bit behind the curtain. But what if you're just a regular shop doing your own thing? You have no idea. You're just guessing every day. And that's cool. You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You're
doing the best you can.
You're doing the best you can, and you're on the Oregon Trail, and you might die of dysentery. You don't know. You're just fucking trying, and it sucks. Like, I'm just saying, it sucks to not have the information. And we're living in an age where everyone has a phone. We all can ask Siri any question we've ever wanted to know, and it'll give us an answer. Why is it that we have to guess with our fucking business every day? Like, why is there not fucking information? This is so unbearable. So it's, again, like, there's people like you, and there's these other things that have this information. They have these metrics, and it's like, I just want them to be known more. I just, like, you're a good dude and you're trying to help, but you're also, in reality, it's your business and you need to make money and you need to sell this product or whatever. But the thing is, it's a good product that is actually going to help the shop. Like, it's going to help the end user. And it's places like Print United too, where it's like, I go and I talk to them, or I see this thing, or I whatever, and became a member, and I get to see all these things behind the curtain. I'm like, how does not every shop know that these things exist? There's a million educational tools on there. There's all these things you can do, but the average shop's just like, I didn't know that existed. It's like, why the fuck? Like, why is this not a thing? When you sign up to be in this industry, here's a checklist of, like, these things are available for you. And that's what I'm trying to do with the show or whatever, is just like, if you want to use the information, cool, but at least I told you, or someone I got on here told you. Like, at least it was presented to you. So again, thank you, Nick, for, like, doing this. And, again, it's your business and whatever, but from the people I've talked to that have used Print Profit, they're happy. So I was happy to do a part 2 with you to be like, let's get more information on this, because I think the first time we talked to you, you were kind of just starting. Like, you were just getting into it a little bit, but now you've had a year or two or more of
about a year
getting out there. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. I'm proud of you, dude, for, like, getting it to where it is all I'm trying to say. Do you have any more that we didn't touch on that you would like to add?
Let's just recap for the gang here. Q4, if you haven't been doing, updating pricing, if you don't know your overhead clearly, if you haven't thought about profit like Dylan and I talked about, sales minus those 4 costs, none of that is a shame, right? We're just saying, look, let's rally, right? So start to make
put shame on them, because it's the only way they're going to get anything done. Yeah, Game of Thrones, where you're naked through the streets, ringing the bell, shame bell, getting flogged. Figure your shit out.
Now's the time. Now it's go time, not Q1 when we're scratching our head, shitting our pants, saying ouch. So yeah, you're listening to the Shirt Show. Hopefully you're subscribed to the newsletter. You're already doing, education, wanting to think different, learn from others. This is a big one. the numbers. I know it's a painful thing. It's not sexy, but we're in business here, right? It's
again,
critical.
I'm saying it vulnerable too. I'm not the best at all of that numbers and metrics and everything else either. I am literally trying to make it happen. I'm in it as well. So I will try to talk to you, Nick, off of this. Maybe we'll figure something out together. But again, for those listening, just try to figure your shit out. It might be good now. You might be like, yeah, everything's great. Or you might be like, everything sucks. I feel like in both of those scenarios, you should probably figure this out. Because for the ones that it's good, eventually it's going to suck at some point. And it's better to know what's a reality and what's your real numbers than to not know anything. So
I love the real conversation. That's the only way to have a conversation. That's the only way to do Shirt Show. And it's been awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if that's good or bad. You know, I hear from some people that they're like, yeah, you kind of say how you feel and whatever. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know if they actually want that or not. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I just want to be like, yeah, this is what it really is. But thank you, Nick. I appreciate you. I do normally ask like quick takes and shop hacks and all this other stuff, but it's not really your whole thing. But I do want to ask my favorite question that I always ask on the podcast is your top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Shawshank Redemption, Don't Leave Home Without It, Pursuit of Happiness. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I'm a nerdy number guy.
Don't be.
The only movie to make me cry is Moneyball with Brad Pitt and I think Jonah Hill.
Yeah, that's a great movie. That is a great numbers movie.
Oh, it's awesome. And then we got a 3-year-old daughter. So if I'm honest, I'll say Moana is a banger.
Moana. I never even watched the second one.
I haven't either. Once you got the original,
I feel like it wasn't even worth checking out. I don't know. No, those are good. Shawshank by far. Shawshank's like one of the greatest movies like ever.
Can't beat that.
It's one of those movies where anytime it's on TV, I will finish watching it all the way through. I feel like it's just super underrated for the youth who haven't seen it. It's one of those things like there's movies like that, and I like talking about it on the show, but I have teenage kids, and it's funny, they're with music, with movies, with any of these things. Like I feel, and this is going to sound weird, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on like what's good and what's not. Like I've been doing this a long time. I dive into movies, I dive into shows, I dive into music, like all these different things. I recommend shit to my kids and they are like, fuck off, Dad. You are lame. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know what's cool in any sense. You're a useless piece of shit. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, these are classics. Like you need to. And then my daughter will hear, again, this goes back to full circle of what we were talking about earlier. Like an idea isn't good unless like the other people said it was good.
Correct.
Now my daughter, her friends will be like, oh, you should, I heard this Alien movie is good or whatever. And I'm like, I fucking told you we should watch the Alien movies together. And now we watched the first one, like, she saw the chest burster and like all this other stuff. And I got to watch her like, cringe at that happening. And I'm like, yes, we are there. Like we're figuring it out. Yeah. So I don't know. I love it. But anyway, I appreciate you, Nick. Thank you very much. I'm sad I'm not going to see you. I totally thought I was going to see you at Print United.
That was the game plan. We're hustling so hard on the software, putting everything back into it, and we're set on Long Beach. That is the go time to show folks.
Well, that's the one. Like that's the cream of the crop one to attend. But Print United is pretty awesome. I do like it. I'm going to be there all week. The reason why we're doing this episode on Sunday is because I don't know if I'm going to get one in while I'm there all week. I'm actually working in the M&R booth doing, I don't like to say podcasting. It sounds so fucking lame, even though that's what this is. But like they wanted me to help them do interviews all week with like clients and like other things. So I'm going to sit down with them and just shoot the shit with people and talk shop and whatever. And then Print Hustlers is Chicago. That one's always a good one. So, but I guess I will see you in Long Beach.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And thanks everyone for checking out the episode.
If you have where should people go if they want to talk to you or figure out Print Profit or whatever?
It's just printprofit.com. You've got my calendar. Book a call. If you're skeptical, love to talk to you. If you're in the middle, love to talk to you. If you're saying, yep, it's go time. I hate this. You got a better way. Let's go. I don't know if people give phone numbers, but I'm 612-471-8382. Profit hotline is open 24/7.
Welcome to Profit Land. All right, dude. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Dylan.